high karma that if we serve them, if we take care of them, if we make peace with them, that is a wonderful virtue, a wonderful good karma, right? In the opposite of that, in actual fact, there are, I'm trying to remember the 5 heinous crimes that a person can do that will send them directly to the hell realms. And one of them is to kill your mother or your father. That would lead directly into the lowest of realms. Another would be to draw the blood of a bodhisattva, to actually draw the blood of a bodhisattva. And what are the others? To split a sangha, to cause division in a community, a spiritual community, where it actually causes them to split. Now the scripture says it's not possible for us to do that, but because you can only do that at the time of the Buddha, because there were, I think it was the Buddha's cousin that actually split the sangha at the time of the Buddha. So that, you know, and then there were, yeah, I'm just trying to think of the others. But it's, I think those are the main ones: father, mother, sangha, to draw blood. What was the other one?
What is the sangha?
The sangha is a spiritual community. So we can't actually do that because we don't live 2,500 years ago. But if we split a spiritual community on purpose for selfish reasons, that is a seriously grave negative karma, you know, in this life. So, and I was really careful of that because I lived in a Buddhist community and I wasn't happy with the way that the leadership were running the temple. And actually, I was looking at, like, there was fraud going on, there was embezzlement, there were funny things. And I was so nervous, you know, about exposing it, about arguing with them, because, like, at what point do you start to split a community? So it's really a tough one. So we haven't started our meditation yet, and we will get into another meditation. I wanted to talk a little bit about, we were talking about purification 2 weeks ago, and I'm sorry about the breakup in classes. I had motorbike problems, and I still do. Sadly, I'm going through massive motorbike karma at the moment. I'm losing a lot of money trying to keep my bike going. Yeah, but anyway, and then next week I'm giving a retreat. I'll be in Franschhoek, and I won't be able to run a class from there because I will be taking 20 people from Old Mutual on a 3-day retreat in a beautiful Franschhoek. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also a little bit nervous to hold space for that many people who have never been on retreat before. So, you know, the one lady said, "Is this a cult? Like, what are we going to do?" Like, you know, they get very nervous, right? 3 days with people, never ever done anything like this before. So I'm a little bit anxious. We're going to be doing a kintsugi retreat, which I've done a few times before. So everyone's going to get a bowl, and then everyone has to break that bowl with a hammer. That's going to be the hard part. And then they've got to sit with their broken pieces and talk about their broken pieces, which I don't know is going to happen. And then we bring the glue in and we get them to glue back their bowls. And then they've got to talk about what the glue represents to them. And then finally, the golden paint that they paint in the cracks. I think Leonard Cohen said, you know, the cracks are where the light shines through. Our cracks. So none of us are perfect. So, but yet we paint the gold of meaning and purpose. So you got broken pieces. How are you going to fix them? What's your resilience? What are your resilience techniques? And then can you find some meaning and purpose out of what you've been through and use that to your power, right? So I hope it goes well. It's a bit of a risk. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you doing? Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Good, and you?
All right, thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining.
Beautiful day today.
Lovely. We've had some gorgeous days. Yeah. So anyway, just talking about that for next week. So, talking a little bit about Buddhism, and especially the Tibetan form of Buddhism, which is what we sort of go into. That's my path. Obviously, there are other three paths to Buddhism, and I'll just share those with you. There's the Hinayana path, which is, or the Theravada path. It's translated as the narrow way, or I don't like to use the word the lesser way. Sometimes it's called the lesser way. It sounds derogatory. It's not any lesser. It just means that the people that follow that path, they want to attain enlightenment for themselves only. And then once they've attained enlightenment, they will teach others. They will serve others. Only once they've got there. Because they say, we can't really help other people if we're not realized ourselves. The Mahayana school, which is what what we sort of study, is we will attain enlightenment for others, and we will try and help them along the way. And because of that, we will generate the karma needed for us to attain enlightenment. So that's the thinking, that if we help our moms and dads, if we help those around us, the Hinayana or the narrow vehicle, they'll be like, you know what, I'm just going to sit in my room and meditate. I'm going to sit in the cave. I'm going to join a monastery, and I'm going to take a vow of silence. I'm going to remove myself from society, and I'm going to work on myself. That's very much their path. But the Mahayana way is like, I'm going to dive into society. I'm going to help people as much as I can, right? So there's two very distinct ways, two very different ways to approach enlightenment. And then there's the Vajrayana, which is the diamond way, which plugs into the Mahayana system. So the Vajrayanists are like, yeah, we want to help people, we want to serve people, but at the same time, we are using esoteric practices. And the Hinayanas or the narrow vehicle look at Mahayana and Vajrayana and go, you guys are crazy. Well, it's not as bad as that. I think they're very respectful that there are different paths, different minds, different karmas at play. So I'm not sure which way feels more appropriate for you. Maybe we could just check in around that. Is it the narrow vehicle, working on yourself only? Is it the Mahayana vehicle, working for others as well as yourself? Or is it the esoteric vehicle, the Vajrayana? What would you say? Belinda, what vehicle appeals to you?
Well, the second two almost sound the same to me.
Almost.
So, well, I think I use esoteric
Yeah.
vehicle, but to me also people tend to abuse it or
Sure.
misuse it as well, or I like to call them the bliss bunnies, without judgment. But the people that talk about crystals and feathers and dragons and all this being from other galaxies and
Light
shit
workers.
like that,
Yeah.
and star seeds and things like that, and it becomes more of an ego thing.
Yeah, I agree.
So for me, I like the Vajrayana. What did you say? Or now the middle one?
The Maha means great way, Mahayana.
Mahayana.
Yeah.
That sounds to me like what I would like to personify.
Sure.
But in giving messages from the angels and the loved ones and everything like that is how I serve people.
Yep.
So it might sound more esoteric.
More Vajrayana. I think you're definitely more Vajrayana person without putting you in a box. But that's your karma. That's what your karma is representing, right?
Yeah.
Patience, I'm going to ask you, what vehicle? Is it the narrow vehicle? Is it the greater vehicle or the esoteric vehicle? What do you resonate with more? Oh, my neighbor's going mad. He's got a brand new KTM. He's very excited.
Yeah.
like this.
Good for him. I
Yeah,
think for me, trying to think. I think I have a lot of every little aspect. That's what I think.
yeah.
I think both.
Nice.
I take everything from everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
But I think more helping.
Service.
Because when I look at service, when I look at what I do work-wise and things like that,
Sure.
it's more service work than anything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because the Mahayana and the Vajrayana cannot exist without the Hinayana. It's like blocks of a house.
But
So you can't throw the Hinayana out, the baby out with the bathwater. You can't throw Hinayana out like that. I remember in India there was a guy had a T-shirt printed and it says, "At least I'm not Hinayana." And it was one of the Tibetan lamas said, "That is such a wrong T-shirt. That is such a wrong view. You know, you have to be Hinayana to be a Buddhist." But thanks, Pai. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you spending your life working with others in service with others, then that could be a predominant, but not
I
to.
think,
Yeah,
sorry, Mark, I just want to add there. Yeah, if I look at my path and the level of service that I offer now, I wouldn't have been able to get here if it wasn't for my own path.
yeah, sure,
And so I think that's a great building block.
yeah.
Before you go into service, you almost need to service yourself first.
Yeah, exactly. So you go into the cave, and then at some point you've got to come out the cave, right, and help others. You can't just stay in the cave all the time. Well, that's the Mahayana view. Kerry, where do you find yourself predominantly?
I would like to think Mahayana, but my interest in Vajrayana, particularly over the last year, I think, has increased. And I'm nervous to say that I think I might be starting to understand the alchemical type thing for
Yeah.
myself. But I'm not sure. I feel drawn to that. I'm not sure why. I know that one has to be very careful, but yeah, there's something new about it that has come to me over the last year,
Nice.
and yeah, I'm interested in pursuing it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, and it comes to you. Interesting what you say. It comes to you. My teacher Geshe Michael says that if you have the seeds, Tantra or Vajrayana will automatically start to happen to you. I'm going to give you a little insight into what's been going on lately for me. And oh my God, 2023 was horrendous. I felt so dark. I felt that all my angels had left me. I felt alone. I felt that there was no divinity, no presence of the Buddhas like I used to feel in my life. They just left. And I was in a bad way. And then strangely enough, I was talking to a friend. We went out for dinner and we were talking about goddess Tara, green Tara. And as I'm leaving, there's a guy walks past me. Now, this is in Modderfontein, like I'm not talking about like Linden or Emerentia where all the cool people hang out. This is Modderfontein. And a guy walks past me and I notice on his chest, he's got Sanskrit symbols. So I stop him and I say, "Whoa, what's going on here?" So he opens up he says, "Yeah, I'll show you." So he opens up his chest and he's got a tattoo. And the mantra is Om Tare Tu Tare Tu Re Soha. And I was just talking to my friend about green Tara, and here's a guy with it, green Tara. So I said, "You like this tattoo?" He says, "Yeah, apparently it's some goddess or something." He didn't even know what the tattoo was or meant. I went to a party on Saturday night, a dance party. I'm on the dance floor and I've got a t-shirt on and it's got tigers on and it's from Thailand and it's got down the side, it's got Thai words that I don't know. And this Indian guy taps me on the shoulder and he goes, look, and he holds up his arm and his arm is full of Thai tattoos. And he puts it next to my t-shirt and it's the exact same words. And then I'm like, oh my God. And then we sit down and he unpacks what these words mean. And it's like resilience, strength, hope, compassion, wisdom. You know, and I think what are the chances, right, of those kind of occurrences? And I don't just go, silly coincidence. I take these things incredibly seriously because then I think, hi guys, you back? Thank you. Obviously, my karma is shifting. And I think if your heart is full of anger, if your heart is full of despair and depression, it's almost as though we cut ourselves off from that divine flow. And it's not like I did that on purpose, right? As you start to heal and recover, I think all of these blessings, all of these signs become more evident. Maybe they were always there. Maybe my eyes were just looking at the ground instead of looking up, you know? So just wanted to share that with you. Very interesting. And that is what Tantra is. When things like that happen in your life, messages, divine symbols, deities, coincidences. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Really, really nice.
What, Elizabeth, what would you resonate with in terms of the schools, the narrow vehicle, just put yourself in an isolated place, like hermetic lifestyle, the Mahayana greater vehicle where you're out there serving, or aligned with that, going into esoteric practices?
I think I bounce between being individualistic and also spiritual practices. I'm trying to incorporate more I don't know if I'm saying it properly. Mahayana. I think I'm trying to move more towards that and serving society and going back into the world and giving of myself, because I think what you give out is what you get back. So if you give out good karma, you get good karma back. So I'd like to start doing that a lot more in my workplace, more than anywhere else.
Yeah, wonderful. Beautiful. Mahayana. Maha means great, like Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahayana.
Mahatma Gandhi means the great soul. Mahatma
Oh,
means great soul. Mahatma. So Maha means great. Yana, it means vehicle, path.
okay.
Yeah. And the Dalai Lama is the father, you could say, of the Mahayana school. And the thing is, the Dalai Lama is like a seriously old guy. But if you go to India and you speak to the right people, the Dalai Lama will see you. He'll make time for you. You know, my sister-in-law went, Janita Snyman. She says, I want to meet the Dalai Lama. You know, in the afternoon, the Dalai Lama is like shaking her hand and giving her a hug, right? Like, he doesn't have time to see thousands of people, but he makes the time. He gets up at 3 o'clock every morning to do his meditation because he doesn't have any other time to do his meditation because his list is full. And they say, Your Holiness, Janita Snyman from Clarksdorp wants to see you. He goes, yeah, okay, you know, I'll see her. And I mean, he's a rock star, you know, he doesn't have time for that, but he makes the time. It's phenomenal. As an old man, that is a Mahayana embodiment. And that's why the Tibetans see him as a Buddha. They see him as the Buddha of compassion. Because he's always available. He's always compassionate and kind and making time for everybody, no matter who you are. Anyway, Andrea, this, I think we haven't checked in with you around it. What school sort of resonates more with you?
So definitely the middle one, the Mahayana one. You know, I've always tried to, you know, do things outside of myself. It's just something that's very close to my heart generally.
Sure.
Even though the last 2 years have been quite tough on me anyway, personally, but I've tried. I think the esoteric, space appeals to me, but it's not something that seems to have resonated at all, in terms of any level on my side. And that's okay. It's just I'm aware of it. I've I guess connected with people who are in that space. And I feel quite privileged to be able to engage with people in that particular space. I think they potentially have a lot of, maybe different types of gifts that, maybe are not, I suppose, recognized by the world per se.
Sure.
But yeah, definitely the middle one.
Okay, wonderful. So yeah, I celebrate the fact that you're all able to share openly and find for yourself a kind of where your groove is in terms of practicing the Dharma. So I think for the next couple of sessions, I want to go into the Vajrayana because it's a very misunderstood and very unknown territory, especially in modern psychology. Western psychology has no clue what the Vajrayana actually means. I think the person that came closest to it was Carl Jung, and he was fascinated by the Asian esoteric forms of mandala, of icons, of deities, etc. So Carl Jung, I've got the deepest respect for as a pioneer of psychology, but still, psychologists are reluctant to work with such principles because they feel it's just very complicated. And as Belinda says, the pitfalls are, I'm a goddess, right? Like I am the light working goddess. And we know people like that, I know lots of people like that. I really admire when someone says I'm a goddess. It's like, wow, your self-love is pretty cool. Like, at least you're not a shit, at least you're not you see yourself very favorably. And that can do wonders for our self-worth, to see yourself as a divine being. I don't see a problem with that. Hello, gorgeous. Look at this gorgeous wolf. Oh my word. Yeah, Belinda, your animals are just amazing. Hey, can you believe these are wolves, guys? These are actual wolves, running with the wolves, as they say. Lots of them. Looks like it's feeding time. So, yeah, I think there's a danger because if we call ourselves, I am now Goddess Kali, or I am this sort of person, we then really, that becomes part of our ego. And in Buddhism, it's all about the deconstruction of our ego, the deconstruction of a self. We try to move to a place where there is no self. So the purpose of esoteric Buddhism is to then challenge your view of yourself, but then not to strongly identify too much. It's a difficult one. So the Vajrayana practitioners will imagine that they are a deity. Monks might see themselves as a beautiful green Tara, which is quite strange. I mean, you'll see some of the monks doing the mudras, which means that in their mind, they're seeing themselves as a woman. And they're like a 60-year-old monk. But that's their practice, is to then become that deity or to think more like that deity. There is a danger in that because the ego starts puffing up one's pride and one's chest, thinking that we're special. Well, we're not special, we're empty. We are special and we're not special, and that's emptiness. Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. So we play with, and some psychologists say, well, that sounds almost like dangerously bordering on schizophrenia. you are purposefully trying to create an alter ego, and that could shift you into dangerous territory. And my son is busy watching Batman with Heath Ledger. What a brilliant actor, and he was the Joker. And Heath Ledger embodied that role to the point where it affected his mental health badly, and he died from suicide after Batman. And people say that he just embodied the Joker and he became insane. It actually made him mad because he was the Joker. And I think people like Jim Carrey, if you look at what's happened to Jim Carrey over the years, people think he's gone mad too. Have you seen Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey? You haven't? Oh my word. Okay, it's a live documentary where he plays the character of Andy Kaufman. Now, Andy Kaufman, you might not know him, but he was a comedian, a very zany, crazy actor, but extremely mad. And Jim Carrey embodied the role so much that he could not detach from the character off screen. So people would knock on his trailer door and say, Jim, say, who the fuck is Jim? It's Andy, and then the producer would come in and say, well, I need to speak to Jim. He said, Jim's not here. Jim's gone. What is it that you want? And he'd be smoking cigarettes. And Jim Carrey didn't smoke, but Andy Kaufman smoked. So he embodied the role of Andy Kaufman down to a T, even off screen, even in his personal life. People were frustrated. They said, we just want Jim back. Where's Jim? So throughout that months and months and it's in the documentary. Now, whether Jim Carrey was acting or not it doesn't matter, but he really embodied the role. And his personality moved into Andy Kaufman. Now, if you look at Jim Carrey in a lot of the interviews with, you see him on the red carpet and then he says, well, there's no me. There's no such thing as a me. He keeps on going about this void self. And people go, okay, Jim, whatever, and there's no you, and there's all an illusion. And he keeps on going on about it because his career has been to become different people, different personalities. And he does it so well. That's what makes him such a good actor. And I think he benefited from it because he realized there's no Jim Carrey. There's no essential person with essential qualities, because I can shift into somebody else completely and become that person. And he does it so well. Any thoughts on that? Okay. So, we used to do this as kids. We used to dress up and pretend we were Wonder Woman or Superman, or we played with these ideas when naturally when we were kids, becoming something else, becoming a superhero. So in the Vajrayana, it's pretty. Sorry, Elizabeth. Sorry.
Almost like a shapeshifter.
Pretty much, yeah. To take it to an extreme, I was listening to a teaching recently where Geshe Michael was saying with Tonglen, which is giving and taking. I think we all know what Tonglen is, right? He said, it's a good practice to imagine that you're a cloud that bursts in the hell realms to cool down the fires of hell. It's a good practice to imagine that you are a warm sun that shines in the cold hells. Now, I don't know, what does it feel like to be a cloud? What does it feel like to be a sun? I've got to imagine now in Tonglen that I'm not Mark, I'm a cloud, I'm the sun. And Geshe Michael says, and you one day will become that for them. You will become a sun, you will become a cloud, you will shapeshift and become anything you want to, because Buddhists, that's what they do. Buddhists can appear as a house, Buddhists can appear as a train, Buddhas can appear as an aeroplane. They can appear as an old hag. They can appear as a dog or a wolf. Belinda?
I wanted to ask something for the group as well. I've been having interesting dreams like the last year, where sometimes I'm not myself in the dreams, where I'm a different person, a man, or different personalities. And the other night in the dream, I actually thought it was me, but when I looked in the mirror, it wasn't me. So what has come up for me is,
Wow.
can we do service in our dreams? Because we all know that dreams also bring up the dark side. Can we help somebody in their dreams? Or for what reason would I be dreaming I'm somebody else? I've never had this before.
Huh. Yeah, so according to Buddhism, the dream state is a real state. It is just a different bardo, a different bardo. And there's a karma in the dream state. So you could be living another life in a dream state, and that life is perfectly real. It's not illusory. It's your karma ripening to live that life. So this is an interesting question, because a lot of the monks, they're celibate. So sometimes they would dream of having sex, right, with a woman. And then they wake up in the morning and they're going, oh no, I've broken my monastic vows. I had sex with someone in my dream last night. And they go to their master and they're like, oh, I broke my vow. And the master's like, no, you didn't. Don't worry about it. So that monk is living another life in that dream, right? And that karma doesn't influence the bardo of living. It's another karma, but it doesn't influence your particular karma. So it's such a weird question, Belinda. I mean, to be honest, I really don't know if we can, reminds me of that movie Inception, where we can go into people's dreams and change their minds, etc. The only thing I really know about dreaming in the Tibetan Buddhist sense is lucid dreaming, or what they call dream yoga, where it's important for us to wake up in the dream and realize I realize that I'm experiencing this reality as a man, but I know that I'm Belinda dreaming of this. I know this is a dream. Why is that important in your waking life to be able to do such practices like that?
Otherwise, you will fuck yourself up.
Isn't it sort of like past life regression, where you're coming into this dream with a past life symbology of yourself, and also like astral
No,
travel?
it's definitely because I also do past life regressions, and because I experience my past lives in waking moments, and also parallel lives. I do believe we have parallel lives as well. So, but this, I can really feel it's a different soul. It's a different entity than me.
Are you
So yeah, it's
present?
actually
I'm joking.
interesting to experiment with it, but it's like I know in the dream it's not me, and I know that I can help make decisions that would influence this dream in a positive way for that person. So it's just weird.
Yeah.
My life is weird.
A lot of our dreams reflect what's going on in our waking mind. So, for example, men that were in the Vietnam War come back with post-traumatic stress. When they go to sleep at night, they have nightmares about being back in Vietnam, about shooting people, killing people. So a lot of the stuff gets stored in our subconscious. I don't know. I can't say, Belinda. It's just different kind of karma. I think it would be interesting to continue with the process and see what unfolds. The other importance of why it's so good to do dream yoga and to practice lucid dreaming is, if you wake up in the dream and you know it's a dream, That plants a seed in your mind to wake up in this dream, which we call life. How did Jesus walk on water? How did the Buddha perform miracles? How did Milarepa fly in the sky? You know, in a dream, if you think, okay, I can fly, you can literally think about it and it'll happen. So in many ways, and this is the thing, guys, according to the esoteric school, they say, like, there's no solid reality to whatever you're experiencing. It feels like that. It feels very real. It feels very solid. But actually, it's more like a dream. And because it's more like a dream, you can shapeshift. You can become a cloud. You can become a sun. You can become a man or a woman or a dog or a wolf, if you have the karma to wake up in the dream and see it like that. Like the Matrix, in a way. That's why it was such a profound movie. You know, Neo woke up and realized, I didn't even have to fight. I didn't even have to dodge bullets. You know, that's my fear. That's my conditioning. But actually, there's nothing here. It's just a program. That's what happened to him, right? He realized it's just a program. These people, this is not real. And when he realized that, nothing could hurt him. He could fly. You know, Neo was flying at the end of the Matrix in the sky because there was no solidity to his existence anymore. He knew that. And that's why the Matrix is a real Buddhist movie. It's a real Tibetan Buddhist movie. It's very esoteric about reality. Not that we plugged into by machines or whatever, but we really believe that this is a solid existing story. And the only thing that's feeding the story are your past actions. If you change your current actions, the whole dynamic changes. The whole hologram changes. The whole dream changes. But our dream now is based on action of past. There was I think I've told the story before in last year sometime, but it's a cool one. There was a monk, not a monk, a yogi called Atisha. He probably lived about 1,200 years ago. So Atisha heard about this angel, the angel Maitreya. And Maitreya is the future Buddha, but at the moment he's existing in a Sambhogakaya light body form, like an angel. So Atisha was like, okay, I know Maitreya exists. People, my teachers are talking about this angel that they've seen. I want to meet Maitreya directly. I want to purify my karma so much that I can shift out of that dream and into a new dream where I can see this angel. So Atisha went into a retreat, into a cave for 11 years. And all he did was chant the mantra of Maitreya and pray, please, Maitreya, I want to see you. Please come teach me. Please teach me. After 11 years, Atisha gave up. No Maitreya, nothing. He was fed up. He left the cave. He was walking down to the local village, like going to give up being a yogi, like it was pointless. 11 years, long time. Then he sees on the side of the road a dog that had been run over by a cart. And the dog was cut open and its intestines had spilled out. And the dog had been lying there, but still alive for some time. And the maggots had come into the dog's intestines. So it was being eaten alive by maggots. And Atisha, obviously, the practices of meditations were extremely compassionate, right? So he had this beautiful heart of compassion from cultivating in meditation. So Atisha looked at the dog and went to pick up tried to clean the maggots off the dog's intestine. And as he touched the dog winced and tried to bite him because of the touch of the skin on that sensitive area. So he thought to himself, I need to remove these maggots and try and save this dog, but I'm going to use my tongue because my fingers are salty and hurting the dog. So as Atisha put his tongue out to start removing the maggots from the dog's intestine, I mean, you wouldn't want to do that, right? No one would do that, right? As he was doing that, the dog transforms and 2 glowing feet appear. And Atisha looks up and there's Maitreya, beautiful angel. And Maitreya smiles and says, hi. And Atisha's like a little bit upset. He's like, I can't believe it. It's Maitreya. Where have you been? You know, I've been working to see you for 11 years. And now all of a sudden you're here. Why did you not come earlier? Why did you take 11 years? He said, it's not up to me. You had lots of karma to purify. But the final act of service to this manifestation of this dog was the final karma purified. And now you can see me. And I will teach you. And you will become a Buddha. So Atisha said, I don't understand. I don't get it. So Maitreya said, why don't you put me on your shoulders and you walk me into town and see what happens. So Atisha did that. He put this angel on his shoulders, you know, like carrying him on his shoulders, walked into town, and he said to everybody in town, look, I have found Maitreya. And everyone said, what are you talking about, you crazy fool? There's no one on your back. There's no one. You're not carrying anyone. There's no one there. And he said, yes, it's the angel. It's on my back. Can't you see it? He said, no one can see it. And one old lady said, why are you carrying a dead dog on your shoulders with its intestine spilling out? That's what she could see. No one saw the dog either, except for one old lady, you know. So it's a crazy story, crazy, right? But that's sort of the nature of reality, according to the Vajrayana school, according to the Mahayana school. I find that story very beautiful and gives me hope, gives me a lot of hope. So I know we haven't done any meditation in this class. I do apologize. I got a bit sidetracked when I started asking you guys about your what vehicle resonates with you. I am going to have to end the class. I've got another session starting in 5 minutes. Yeah, so as I said, I won't be here next week. I'm doing a retreat in Franschhoek, but we'll continue classes the week after. And I do apologize for the intermittent breaks and so on. We're doing our best. Thanks for your contribution. It was really interesting to hear, and we'll carry on in 2 weeks' time. Okay. Let's do it.
Thank you, Mark.
Let's do a dedication.
Thank you.
We've accumulated great karma by attending this class, good energy, good seeds that, you know, will change our reality going forward and enhance our reality into a more beautiful, happy place for ourselves and for others. We think about sharing this goodness with the rest of the world, with all beings, no matter where they are. Gewadi kewo kun, tsunami eshe zozo shin, tsunami eshe le junwei, dampa kunia topa sho. Awesome. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Thank you, Mark. Good luck for next weekend.
Thank you very much. I think I need it. Okay.
Thank
You'll
you.
be
Good luck.
amazing.
It'll be good. You're gonna do good.
You'll be
Thanks,
amazing.
Good.
Thanks, Peg.
Enjoy. Bye.
I'll let you know how it goes.
Bye.
Bye.